next trade comes out.
Team names.
Yeah, but now they do.
Nobody cares about team names.
Dude, it could be funny.
Dude,
like, we'll just have a year wide.
But that's the thing is nobody cares about team names. Okay, I'm telling you that right now.
Everybody, there's like a million
like
of them.
The whole
top post on the Dynasty sub this week was just like the least funny guy you know just changed his team name to Hawk Tua. And I have somebody in literally all of my fucking leagues that's already changed to Hawk Tua.
You gotta have Hawkinson into it.
Yeah, it's
not otherwise.
You can't have a team name unless your guy.
I didn't even think about Hawk.
You have to have the players.
Like Hawkins. What you should do is tell Josh that if he doesn't change his name, he has to pay $100 instead of $50 for the buy-in.
I don't think
instead of just being Jake Sully or whatever.
Yeah, you should at least have to change your name from
what your username
is. Yeah, that should be the rule.
I can, you know what I mean?
It's fine the way it is.
You speak like such a woman.
No, the
I'm
woman
not
is
mad.
like,
I'm just disappointed.
No, the woman is like, you think it should be bigger? You think it should be smaller? And
it's your show. It's your show.
Dude is like,
you're the host.
Whatever.
You make the decisions.
And the woman's like, I wish you would just make a decision. I want them bigger.
Bigger's better. That's what they say.
Here's what's gonna happen. You're gonna make it too big, and then you're gonna be like, I knew we shouldn't have made it that big.
How much bigger do you want it? How much bigger do you want it?
Getting into what's gonna be breaking news here soon.
Cocky though with the editing. He's like, I know how to edit now, so I can just interrupt. Like, cause you remember before he was like, don't fucking fuck up.
I didn't want to do it. I still don't want to do it. It still takes me a while. No.
I would offer to whoever came over to my house.
I gotta work another day of overtime just for this beer.
I gotta work on that overtime.
I'm thrifty. I'm not cheap.
Did I throw you off or something? I just said I'm ready. Are you good?
Yeah, are you ready?
Are you ready?
All right.
I need a beer.
This is your forecast.
Let's go.
Yes, I do. Hey, you asked me.
You got Twisted Tea in the beer fridge.
Hey, well, here's the nice thing. Should I just get into the news?
Yeah, you don't need me for the news.
No, there's not much news.
Okay.
The only news we got at all is CeeDee Lamb kind of threw it out there that he would like to be traded if the Cowboys will not pay him at least $32 million per season, making him the second highest paid receiver in the NFL.
Can go Birds.
Yeah, right? It's like, that's awesome for us in the division. Obviously, he's going to get locked up. The more money they give him, the better.
Yeah.
He's going to get paid.
This
is very similar to the Ayuk stuff where, you just posture for your payment.
Yeah.
Now, he's a little more forward with it, where he's on podcasts talking about, like, I'd play with Jaden Daniels. I'd play in Pittsburgh. Like, he's naming teams. That's a little wild. But yeah, so that's pretty much all that's happened in the last week.
Did Ayuk do anything different? Because I heard that he finally went to the stadium or something like that.
Yeah, so he actually showed up finally. But he was on a podcast with Ryan Clark and a couple other guys, and Jaden Daniels was there for it. Like, he was off screen. And they asked him about the contract situation, and he was like, shoot, I mean, if San Fran won't pay me, I got a quarterback right there. I know what I can do with it.
Yeah.
Like, points at Jaden Daniels in the room, and then he's talking to Ryan Clark. He's like, I wouldn't mind wearing black and gold, Like, they got two new quarterbacks over there. It's just Pickens. So, I still think he's just posturing for a contract, just like CeeDee Lamb is here.
Yeah.
But
kind of tough when he's
But I don't think that San Fran can keep him locked up. Like, I was looking into their cap room. They're going to have to make a choice between him and Debo this time next year.
Yeah.
At the latest.
That's an easy choice.
Yeah.
I agree.
So
to anybody.
Yeah,
but
give me the young guy
Niners.
without all the injury issues over the last 5 years. Like, that's super simple for me. But
Give me the not guy that's basically a running back.
Yeah.
when I have Christian McCaffrey already, it's.
Mhm.
Yeah.
But yeah, so that's it for the news. Really, is the CeeDee Lamb stuff.
Okay.
But what's nice about today's episode is we're getting into a preview of what news we're going to be looking at for the next few weeks.
Yeah.
Because things are about to heat up when training camp happens,
Yeah.
get really underway.
I can't wait to see the tape, honestly. Especially with these rookie quarterbacks.
I know. Yeah, I'm real excited, man.
First one we got up, Bo Nix versus Zach Wilson or Jared Stidham. This one was a weird one for us. Looks like I think we're all gonna have.
Yeah, I think we all might have to defend our guy here.
Yeah. I think at the end of the day, everybody has to go Bo Nix, right? Like late in the year or something like that.
Oh, at some point.
Yeah,
probably,
he'll play at some point.
Yeah.
I think Stidham's the week one starter.
Yeah.
I think he's shown the most of, obviously Bo Nix was all over the place as far as where people thought he would get drafted, and Sean Payton took his guy, so he's got good draft capital, so he's going to be the guy at some point. That's locked and loaded. Neither of these other guys are competing for the franchise job. It's Bo Nix's.
Yeah.
But I've seen enough of Zach Wilson where I don't want to see anymore. And everything I've seen says that he's struggled a little bit so far, but I think all of them have struggled so far, really grasping the Peyton offense. But I think Stidham's going to be the guy because he's been there already. He's at least been there for a year. So I think he's going to be the incumbent. And that's where I'm at.
So he's the one that was playing whenever they took Wilson out?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
I think everybody can agree we all like Jared Stidham. Everybody likes him. I don't know anybody who doesn't. But just because you're likable doesn't make you the week 1 starter. I think
That's
Zach
fair.
Wilson's going to take the week 1 starter job. I think he's going to do a lot better than he did with the Jets. Dude, you're a Jets quarterback. You're probably going to suck on the Jets.
Or
So-
blow out your Achilles.
Yeah, it's something.
Something's
gonna
gonna happen.
That's bad. But now he might have a good. They give up a third for him or something like that. Something
They gave up
stupid?
something. I'm not sure what they
Okay,
gave
yeah,
up.
they gave up some.
But
But
pick
yeah,
for
they
him,
did
so-
give up something for him.
So I would have to imagine Jared Stidham. They didn't give up anything for. I'd have to imagine if they gave up something, they're going to keep Wilson on the roster, and Jared Stidham might not even make the roster. I would imagine, and I hope for the best for him because, like I said, I still like him, and I don't think Bo Nix is NFL ready yet. So I think they might just throw in Zach Wilson and just hope for the best until he either does bad or if he just does really good, then Bo Nix might not see a starting job until next year.
Right.
That's what I would imagine.
Bo Nix was one of the older quarterbacks, right?
Correct.
He started for 4 or 5 years in
Yeah, I want to say he started all 4 years.
So
Yeah.
I'm thinking
And-
he's probably pretty pro ready.
Yeah, but you would think that, but like, how many quarterbacks were taken before him? 3,
uh,
4,
4
4 quarterbacks taken before him, and so all those franchises are thinking that he's probably a developable quarterback, not what they need right now, like the Commanders and all them other people.
Right.
Like they put all those other quarterbacks in front of him because he's not ready.
Let's look when the Steelers took Kenny Pickett at 18. It wasn't because they were trying
Did
to
he start
develop
right
him.
away?
It's just because he didn't have that much talent. He
Did he
wasn't-
start right away?
Like week 4, I think he started.
I think Bo Nix is the only lock of these 3 to be on the roster, obviously.
Yeah.
I think there's a
Yeah,
chance either the
yeah,
other
yeah.
2 guys could get cut. But I also see a scenario where if Bo Nix doesn't show up to Sean Payton, he's not comfortable dressing him week 1.
Yeah.
And they have that extra rule where you can keep the third quarterback undressed and everything
Yeah.
now. I think Wilson and Stidham could be the 2 that dress as the starter and backup because he doesn't want to throw Bo Nix out in the middle of a game unprepared.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
until he's ready to take the job, I could see that being a situation too.
That's
Yeah.
what Tennessee did last year with
Levis.
Levis.
because they put the other guy, the
The Malik Willis.
Malik Willis. Yeah, they put him in instead of. But then Willis started. Levy started the next game.
Right. So yeah, I definitely could see that being a scenario where if somebody got hurt, Nix would get the start the next week, but I could see him not being the backup because these guys have been in the league long enough to understand,
Yeah.
what's expected when you come in like that. Especially guys like them who are career, in and out guys who are used to that kind of thing. That's normal for them.
But you gotta want Zach Wilson to do good after being on the. Nobody likes the Jets quarterbacks. Nobody will ever stand by him. Goes to a new team, you're like, all right, dude, this is his
Dude,
opportunity.
he is not
right?
a likable guy at all. Just
No.
besides
Well,
from being on
yeah,
the
I
Jets,
mean,
like,
You keep
Yeah.
him around.
I will say that
You keep him away
he's-
from your mother, and then like you're good
Yeah.
with him, right? But I don't know.
Gardner Minshew's a likable guy though, for
Yes,
sure,
sir.
right?
Super
Like,
likable.
everybody loves him.
Yeah.
Maybe
Yes,
the
sir.
most liked guy since Fitzpatrick as far as, quarterbacks go.
Yeah.
He slid right into that role when Fitzpatrick
Yeah.
retired.
Mm-hmm.
You
So-
can't have a, hair like that and just not be likable. Guys got
What's,
a
he got,
great
what's
head
his
of hair.
hair? What's his hair? What do you mean? Like
Oh,
the mullet?
Oh,
Yeah,
yeah.
mullet.
Great mullet. Wears
Yeah.
the short jean shorts.
Sometimes does just a mustache or whatever.
Yeah. The guy understands. So he knows his
He
market.
knows, yeah.
It's guys like us.
Yeah, but Aiden O'Connell kind of does the same thing too. And I mean, they're battling in camp, and I mean, 2 similar guys. That's where I think this is one of the hardest ones.
I think this
in camp
one
battles.
is probably the biggest legitimate competition where I think it's a 50-50.
Yeah.
Somebody's going to have, I would say somebody's going to have to earn it. But everything I've heard so far has been, it's probably going to end up who's failing the least because it's similar to Denver where neither of these guys have really grasped the offense. And obviously, we're not even into a real training camp
yeah.
yet.
Who's the coach there?
Antonio Pierce. He was the interim head coach last year after they fired their coach, and they gave him an extension. I'm going with O'Connell week 1. That's who I have. I think if you have that team in that situation, you just go with the upside. We know that Gardner Minshew is a fine quarterback, but he's not a franchise quarterback.
Yeah.
He's not going to lead you to a Super Bowl. You probably can't win playoff games with him, in my opinion.
Yeah.
So I think O'Connell's probably the guy they trot out week 1 and just hope he's either tanking them to the bottom or shows a lot of improvement just from being in games.
Yeah, I think with what he showed last year, he showed some flashes of being pretty good. I think O'Connor's going to take it. I think Minshew's going to obviously be a serviceable backup and even somebody to push him during camp and give him a little bit of veteran experience to Aiden O'Connell. But I like Aiden O'Connell for taking it and seeing if he can take that next step in the NFL.
Right.
He's also on your team.
I think I had Gardner on one of my teams.
I have one share of each of them in my league.
Dude, you got to think, like, the young guy. You play the young guy. Like, I don't know. See if
All
he's good.
Dude, you are always talking about how much you love Gardner Minshew and how you wanted the Eagles to
I
sign
know.
him. And how,
If I was a
They did
Raiders
sign him
fan,
before, by
I would
the
be all
Yeah.
for Gardner Minshew. And I wish the Eagles never got rid of him. Said we got that bum Pickett.
that's another interesting battle. That's
Yeah,
on
that's
further
not
down the
bad,
list.
bro.
Kenny Pickett and making a roster.
No, okay. Do you remember in the Spudge League, we were watching the preseason game that number 4 on the Raiders came up on the TV.
Right.
He looks exactly like Derek Carr
O'Connell.
with his helmet on. Yes.
So, who was their coach last year? McDaniels?
Yeah.
So obviously him and Carr had a bit of a falling out when Carr left, and he made O'Connell take the number 4 as like a slap in the face to Derek Carr. So he got to
For
switch.
real?
Yep.
I did
He was
not
like,
know that.
I don't care that you were here for 7 years. You disrespect me, I'm giving your number away immediately. Yeah, just like a slap in the face on the way out the door to Derek Carr, who was everything for that.
Yeah.
I mean, he was great, honestly,
Right,
until he
yeah.
broke his leg.
Yeah.
Dude, my point is, I could not tell the difference between Aiden O'Connell and Derek Carr.
Wow.
And
That's a win.
I guess, but I like Gardner Minshew better.
Yeah.
He just has a better winning percentage.
Does he?
I don't know. I just like him better.
Overall?
I do think
maybe.
It's
close.
Minshew's probably the safe bet for
Mhm.
not losing you football games.
Yeah.
Because I don't think Gardner's going to go out there and throw the game away for the Raiders. But, I mean, if they get down 14-0, I also don't think Gardner Minshew has the arm talent to bring them back into the game and fight back like that.
No, he doesn't. You're right.
He's
Very much
definitely
like
got he's got the
Fitzpatrick.
Yeah,
swagger.
but
for
yeah,
it.
he definitely has the swagger. He's the perfect guy. He fits the Fitzpatrick and maybe even Taylor Heineke mold, where if he comes off the bench into the game, the hype goes through the roof for the
Yeah.
team, for the
Mhm.
fans. Like the whole stadium just becomes electric because he's a fan favorite guy. So
Yeah. What do you think the odds are for the whole stadium chanting Minshew's name after Aiden O'Connell doesn't do good or something? He throws like 3 picks, and then what's the chances they do the TiVo for Minshew?
it's happening one way or the other. For sure, I think they'll both probably play this year.
Yeah,
I don't think
can
either
see
of them
it.
are good enough to hold down the job and not have the what if questions coming in. Especially because I don't think the Raiders are good enough to win a bunch of games. So you'll hear it from the fans a lot.
Yeah.
Like obviously being a Washington fan, I've dealt with that for 15 years. Where if you start 0-2 or 1-3 or something, it's all right. We need the backup in now.
I'd say
Yeah.
good chance that by week 10, neither of them are playing.
Yeah,
It's just they're going to be
just
cycling through some guys.
Joe Flacco.
Yep.
Well,
I tell you, I'll say this though. This doesn't have anything to do with the actual competition, but if I had like Devontae Adams on my team, I would want Aiden O'Connell to win because
Yeah.
he's just gonna chuck it to that dude.
yeah.
A lot more than Gardner Minshew would.
I agree with
Yeah.
that.
Moving on to my favorite team, Steelers.
Mm.
Justin Fields versus Russell Wilson.
I think Russell Wilson obviously going to take the starting spot. I think that's obvious. Now I don't know if the camp battles is where I don't think he's going to win or lose his spot. I think week 4, week 5, Mike Tomlin's going to be tired of Russell Wilson playing this hero ball and not just taking his checkdowns or doing what he tells him to do. Where Russell's been doing the last however many years on the Broncos and last year on the Seahawks. So I think Justin Fields by week 5, 6, or whatever, I think he'll be starting, or at least I don't know, doing something more than Russell Wilson. I think Mike Tomlin won't put up with Wilson's crap.
Yeah. What's your team? What do you think?
There's first of all, they're both. It's a bad situation altogether.
Right.
Like, To me, this whole thing feels like something that the Commanders would do. Like this has like
a little bit.
Donovan McNabb when they
Yeah.
signed him.
You won't believe
like
this.
the Jets or something.
Ron Rivera in Washington put in a Godfather offer for Russell Wilson and got turned down. They wanted him bad, and I'm thanking the stars at this point. We didn't get it and get stuck with that contract and everything, but
I'm hoping Fields wins.
I think Fields
I'm hoping Fields
with
wins.
Mike Tomlin and just the Steelers as a team, just leave it up to the defense, and Justin Fields and Najee will just run the ball over.
Well,
I think that would be awesome to watch.
And the problem with that though,
There's no problem.
Fields has the most turnovers.
yeah, Fields is.
Don't you're always talking crap about
I agree, but
quarterbacks
that's
that
when he was
turn
on
the
the
ball
Bears.
over.
The Bears suck, bro. Like they just that's what they are. They don't have good coaching. I think Mike Tomlin, dude, the guy hasn't had a losing record like ever.
Yeah,
But
So,
then-
like,
literally
I
ever.
think
Okay.
Mike Tomlin just will be able
Never
to
even 500.
coach Justin Fields to be a way better player than what he was with the Bears.
It didn't work for Mitchell
Even-
Trubisky.
Even if he
No, it did
says
not.
even if he says you're never going to use your arm, you know what I mean? Mike Tomlin's going to be able to make
Dude, we're
Justin
going to the
Fields a good player.
wishbone offense.
There it is,
The
man.
triple
I like
option.
that.
Screw it. That would be awesome to watch.
I think
it would be fun to watch.
It would be
I agree
fun.
with
I'd
that.
be down for that.
Yeah.
I think the Pittsburgh situation, like you said, isn't a great one. Like, it's not
Yeah.
something I really want to make a bet on, honestly.
Mhm.
But I think there's a 0% chance that Justin Fields is the starter week 1. I think there's no shot for me.
What about starter kick returner?
I'll tell you this: he might be the most electric runner in all of football. Period,
Yeah,
in my opinion.
yeah.
I mean, the guy does some crazy stuff. If you just looked at Justin Fields' highlights, you would have him #1 all-time best football player ever. Like, there's nobody better. But even though I said 0% chance starting week 1, I think there's a 100% chance he gets on the field as a quarterback and plays
Yeah.
football this year.
Yeah.
Like, they're going to have to take the shot. Otherwise, why did you trade for it?
Yeah.
Like,
Well,
actually,
they
why
only-
did you trade for it?
They
Yeah.
well, okay, I can tell you for one thing, they didn't have any other QB on the roster when they traded for him.
Right.
So
Yeah.
They needed a backup quarterback.
If anything.
Yeah, but
It's kind of like
I
the same
mean-
thing with Zach Wilson.
he's so
Yeah.
different from Russell Wilson play style wise that if you don't have plans for him to build that offense around him, because I think he's the kind of guy you guys were just talking about, you have to build a system to fit his strengths.
Yeah.
Because he's not just coming in and, all right, I'm going to drop back 45 times and throw the football. That's not what he's good at. And like you said, Mike Tomlin's a good coach. I think the system's going to be very different. It'll be a different offense when he comes in, even though obviously Tomlin isn't an offensive guy and he's not in control of that stuff.
Hold on, do you know who is?
Mustache man.
Arthur Smith.
Oh, yeah, Arthur Smith.
So, I mean,
God.
I think
Yeah.
you're giving him a lot of credit here.
I am giving Arthur Smith probably way too much credit. I'm going to be honest. That's a good call out. Yeah, I mean, that does make it tough because I just watched the Falcons for the last few years, and I was not a fan of the Desmond Ridder, Taylor Heineke-led offenses with Arthur Smith at the helm.
It's going to be first and second, Najee Harris.
Yep. Third and long,
Yeah.
Jalen Warren screen.
And you know what? Even if they don't do the whole like only run the ball, I'm still going to be happy with just seeing Harris and Warren run the ball.
Yeah.
Just a lot.
They're talented running backs.
love,
They really
I
are.
love ground and pound. So
Yeah, man.
Okay. I don't know.
don't be gay about it, dude.
Okay, I'm not.
Okay,
I
Jacoby
can-
Brissett and Drake May. I want to
I don't
know.
like this one.
I want to know
I love this one.
who actually cares. Neither of them are going to get points.
Nate just said he
I don't-
cares. So
I don't care.
he
Well,
loves this one. He said.
Well, there's one reason I care. I have Jacoby
There
Brissett
you
in a
go.
14-team
There you go.
Superflex league, and I desperately need a second quarterback, man. I need somebody to win the job. I have him and O'Connell on that roster, and I'm just praying one of these guys can start week 1. But funny enough, I do think Brissett is the starter week 1. There's
What
been
did
a
you
lot
say?
of...
What did you say? You said O'Connell for the other one too.
I did.
Weird, isn't it?
But
Weird. Weird.
I don't know.
everything we've heard so far, Drake May's release and timing still needs a lot of work. That was the first reactions they got out of camp when the rookies showed up. But I also agree with you, Jake. I don't think it matters from a fantasy perspective.
Yeah.
Neither of these guys this season will probably be able to do enough to make a difference. Maybe Drake May could look like early Josh Allen.
Yeah.
Where he just wins on the fact
Yeah.
that, okay, I can score 8 rushing touchdowns this season and have 500 rushing yards, and I'm quarterback 14 just because of that. But I mean, if you guys remember Josh Allen, it wasn't good to watch as
Yeah.
far as playing football.
They also had a cannon. They both have cannons.
Yeah, great arms. Yeah, definitely great arms.
And when they start talking about changing somebody's mechanics, get the ball out, and all this, dude, he's been playing football for what, 10 years now,
Yeah.
and he's like,
Probably longer than that.
so you've already built up all these habits. Like,
Who's
if you
that?
haven't, but Drake May, as far as his,
Yeah, just in general, changing somebody's mechanics always is a little worrisome.
so like
Joe
what's
Burrow did it? Well, I guess, yeah. I mean, he was like 2 years or whatever.
Right.
So.
I just don't know what the story behind that would be. Like, your coaching was so bad that they didn't make you do it, or they didn't teach you right, or else
That's
you just
weird.
weren't.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, I guess from one perspective, it's like Drake May is probably the best quarterback UNC might have ever had. So it's like, do we really want to try to be the guys that change everything that's been working for our quarterback right now? Especially
So they
because
just-
it's not a long-term issue for them. It's, okay, he's gone in 2 years. We're going to have some high schooler starting anyways.
So they're just
Let's win football games.
They're just pumping and dumping.
That's all college sports is now,
Pumping
man.
and dumping.
What do you-
Especially
what
now
do you
these guys
say
get
about
paid
that?
out.
I don't have anything to say about that. What about J.J.
Ground and
McCarthy
pound.
and Sam Darnold? I don't know if I can really say anything about who I think would. I just hope it's J.J. McCarthy. I'm so tired of seeing Sam Darnold. Like, he just got just ugly name, like an ugly face. Like, I'm just tired of him, bro. Like, just
When I hear
JJ
of Sam
on.
Darnold, I just think of that Monday Night Football game where he was mic'd up and they put him on blast and he was like, I'm seeing
I'm
ghosts.
seeing ghosts. Yeah, I hope J.J. McCarthy just gets.
I mean, we've seen enough of Sam Darnold in different situations to know, like, that's not the right choice,
Yeah.
right?
Dude,
Yeah.
San Francisco, they said, I don't know which player it was. He said, there's no drop off in week 18 when Sam Darnold came into play.
Yeah, I mean,
So
That I think they were just talking about how bad Brock Purdy actually is.
that's
And how
no.
well
let's
the scheme-
go-
how well
let's
the
go on to
scheme-
the next one.
I think
definitely not
Darnold
what
probably wins the job for week one, but
I can
You
definitely.
think so? I don't.
I think it's kind of like the same with a lot of these guys. It's like, okay, if he wins, he's not going to be there long.
yeah,
It's going to be 4
Exactly.
or 5
It's-
weeks or whatever. So
it's tough. But now here's the interesting stuff.
This is your favorite one right here.
Yeah, the Packers wide receiver room, man. You can break this down a million different ways. And as long as Bo Melton isn't the wide receiver one for you, you have a realistic shot of picking the right order.
Yeah.
Between Wicks, Dobbs, Watson, and Jaden Reed, I think Jaden Reed's the favorite for most people to be the one there. But I have no clue how that depth chart shakes out.
yeah, dude,
It is so tough.
it could probably change every single week to where
I hope-
Yeah.
yeah, it just goes from each person to be.
I hope that. I mean, that does happen sometimes, but usually ends up there gets to be one guy.
Oh, yeah,
Yeah,
established
yeah.
as
Somebody's
the
eventually going to
best.
establish themselves, I think.
Yeah,
And well,
I would say Bo Melton isn't that guy.
yeah.
And I'm also at the point where Christian Watson isn't that guy for me. I don't think he's bad at football, but I think he's really good at what he does well. And that's, hey, I'm the 9 route guy. I'm running
Yeah.
downfield. I can win downfield.
Mhm.
And if that's just his role as like the
Until
Z,
he
the
drops
flanker,
it, right.
yeah, I mean, he I don't think he's a dominant X.
Yeah.
So I think he's going to keep his role as the field stretcher. And then one of these other guys like Wicks, Dobbs, or Reed, probably Wicks or Reed for me personally, is going to have a chance to establish themselves as more of a dominant alpha receiver this season.
I
Watson
like
did-
Dobbs. I like Dobbs.
Yeah?
I think Dobbs at the top, Watson all the way down to the bottom. Even though he might not end up at the bottom, he should
Right.
be there. And then Wicks and Reed, I feel like they're kind of interchangeable for me, and I wouldn't know who with them, but I think Dobbs is my number one guy for them.
you love players like that. They don't get real open. They're not real elusive, but they like
Hey, but he
like
makes football
Alshon
plays.
Jeffrey. Those kind
I
of
mean,
guys.
George
But
Pickens.
He's not even
Yeah.
that guy though.
Yeah, Dobbs
Not
is
really.
like he's
I feel like he can do it all.
he's not getting. If you look up like what's that guy you're talking about?
Matt Harmon, reception perception.
You go
Yeah,
look it
let me-
up
let
and
me
look
look
at
him
who.
up.
Yeah, you might
Yeah,
have to
I mean,
pay for it. So
Yeah,
You can probably find it for free somewhere.
I know.
But
You,
but
I
if
know
you-
you didn't. You probably stole.
no,
it
I
from
definitely did.
somebody. You
I
definitely
cut
stole
the tape up
somebody's
and watch it
information.
myself.
Yeah, okay, bud.
But if you go on and look there, I guarantee you, Wicks's actual separation that he's getting every play.
Oh, it's the best on the team for sure. As
Yeah,
far
it's
as getting
way higher than
separation,
Dobbs.
yeah, that's
Yeah.
what he does. He excels at that. But
Dobbs is
Slot
much
guy.
more of a body positioning, and
that guy wins at the catch point. He does it
Yeah.
well. I'll absolutely
Yeah.
hand him that. He's a guy who will probably be one of their best red zone threats in the passing game
Yeah.
for the next couple of years. I mean, those sideline toe tap, over the defender catches he makes are actually really incredible for his size. So
That's an unappreciated thing, though. A lot of times,
Yeah.
it doesn't look great on TV, but if the quarterback trusts you, knows where you're going to be,
Yep.
and
Well, so much of fantasy nowadays is just the analytics. People don't even play by what they've seen on the field and stuff. It's like, okay, Dontavian Wicks gets the most separation, he's the one. And that's not always how it shakes out. I think it, personally for me, I like Wicks the most, but I think it's because of his value as well. He's the cheapest of those top 4 receivers in any league as far as trading for him goes. I think they all have an equal shot, besides for Watson, of being the actual alpha there. So
I agree.
that's a tough room.
So who did you say?
Dobbs.
He's got
You said
Dobbs.
All right.
I'm going to go Wicks.
Yeah, I'm going Wicks too.
Man, we're the Jaden Reed hating podcast. He's by far the most valuable asset
Klopper
there.
does love Jaden Reed, though. I think he just sees the value that he can get from Wicks.
Yeah.
Being like, oh, yeah, you can drive him real low, give some stupid pick for him.
I don't even sound like that.
You gotta do
He
so.
said, give him some stupid pick for him. I don't even sound like that.
Okay,
All
the
right.
Bills. Speaking of getting stupid picks, I don't know where I was going with that. What's the
This is a stupid receiver room.
what's the quote from The Office where Michael Scott was like, "Sometimes I start a sentence and I have no idea how I'm gonna end it."
Yeah.
You remember that?
Yeah.
Sometimes I'll start a sentence, and I don't even know where it's going. I just hope I find it along the way. Like an improv conversation. Improvisation.
Anyway,
Um,
so we got Curtis Samuel. He's been all around the place. He was in Washington last year. Shakir, he was Bills last year.
Yep.
yeah.
Yeah, they drafted Keon Coleman. They traded for Chase Claypool, I believe, and then signed MVS.
Yeah.
Man, what just an ugly room on paper. Like,
Yeah.
none of these guys stick out as a, oh my gosh, this guy's going to win me my league.
Yeah.
Nobody does that for me here. But I think any of them are probably fair shots as far as just drafting them at value
Yeah.
and hoping that they pop a little more than what you paid for them.
Yeah.
I think Coleman is a lock to be on the field the most. I don't think you trade Stephon Diggs and then spend the draft capital on him and not put him on the field with Josh Allen to see what they can do chemistry-wise.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a good point.
But I think Samuel and Shakir are definitely the 2 and 3. I don't see Claypool and MVS pushing them.
Yeah.
Uh,
I don't think
and they're
they-
both really interesting as far as what they do. Like, Samuel is very similar to guys like Debo and Jaden Reed, where, they're
Oh, yeah.
hybrids, screens, running plays,
Mhm.
all kinds of things, lots of motion.
Yeah.
And Khalil Shakir in the slot
Yeah.
has a really good win rate
Yeah.
from everything I've seen the last 2 years.
That is so not Josh Allen's game.
No, it's
That's
not.
why I'm not interested in Curtis Samuel at all.
Yeah.
Give me, you can call this a hot take. I'm taking Claypool
Really?
because that's Josh Allen's game.
Throwing it deep.
Yeah, just.
I mean, that's definitely Josh's
Well-
game. He does love slinging the rock.
If I was gonna take that based off of Josh Allen's game, which is a valid point, I would never take Claypool because Claypool just sucks as a receiver in general. I think Claypool is a slot receiver with a big man's body. He's playing the wrong game with the different. Like, he shouldn't be doing
I
that.
think you should move to tight end.
I think he
Bulk
should
up a little
I
bit?
think he should probably maybe play soccer. He could probably be good at that.
I don't think he has.
Basketball. Maybe next
Basketball,
3 and
yeah,
D guy.
basketball,
Yes, he's got the
yeah,
length,
absolutely.
the wingspan. I'll say this. If MVS can't win with Pat Mahomes as far as being like a
Yeah.
realistic option, it ain't going to change with Josh
Yeah.
Allen. I mean,
Yeah, he can go from Aaron Rodgers to Pat
yeah, I mean,
Mahomes.
this guy has only played with elite level talent and never shown us anything.
Yeah.
So for me, he's the guy that's off my radar entirely. I wouldn't want to take a shot on Claypool, but I mean, you can have him for free, right?
Yeah,
Like, it's,
pretty much. Yeah.
he's free.
Yeah.
So I don't hate that.
I'd probably I really agree with you after you say that. I think all of them play a different role.
Yeah.
So none of them might actually not be the true number one, but they're like, there might be a true number one. But so yeah, I could definitely see Coleman being the guy because he's the kind of like outlier of what.
Yeah.
So, but I really like Shakur for being the guy that gets you the most points for the Bills. Because I think with last year at the end of the year when he was doing like really good, I would just imagine he's going to continue to do that or just do better than what he did last year. Though I do like Samuel as a runner and
Yeah.
like you said, and I mean,
It is
obviously,
definitely tough.
Yeah.
I think the answer might just be Dalton Kincaid.
Yeah.
I wanted
think
to
we
say
can all-
that,
yeah.
but you didn't put his name up there. I didn't.
Yeah, I mean, he's-
think about it.
Well, see, the part where I put wide receivers, you know what position
Ah.
Dalton Kincaid is? He's a
Yeah.
tight end, so I didn't put him.
I was thinking about saying him, but
Yeah.
then I forgot.
Yeah.
It
You
doesn't
got
matter.
confused. It is what it is. So the Chiefs?
Yeah, the Chiefs. It's a
Man.
little dude. They actually have some good guys, unlike the Bills. So
Now
it's a different
yeah.
problem to.
It is a different problem, especially because there's just so many weird things going on. And
Yeah.
for the Chiefs, like after Hollywood Brown, Xavier Worthy, and Rashee Rice, there is nobody actually good at football in that wide receiver room. I mean, Justin
Yeah.
Watson, McCole
Yeah.
Hardman, Kadarius Toney. I'm not interested. I'm just not. They've all been there already
Yeah.
with Pat Mahomes and shown that they can't do that. Just like we just said with MVS, they're just not good enough.
Yeah.
McCole is a much better real life player
Yes.
than fantasy. Like,
Yeah, it definitely
he is
helps
a
the
solid-
Chiefs more
yeah.
than
Yeah.
he will help your fantasy team. And then obviously everybody knows the Rashee Rice situation, and there's no answer to that right now.
Yeah.
For me, I think it's Hollywood Brown. And that's a pretty big switch over the last couple months for me, where I had Worthy and Rice for sure above Hollywood Brown since the NFL draft. But as far as who I want this season, it's got to be Hollywood for me. I mean, I've seen him win at the NFL level with multiple quarterbacks. Obviously, I think Mahomes is probably better than Lamar and Kyler Murray. And I think he can really take advantage of the in-between the hash marks, like the intermediate stuff in the middle of the field. I know that's a lot of Travis Kelce stuff,
Yeah.
but at the same time, I mean, what's he drawing? 2, 3 guys? Hollywood Brown's not getting that coverage. You know, if they have 2 crossers and he's 15 yards deeper and winning with speed on top of that, I think he could have a pretty special year because Mahomes can fit the ball into some big window or small windows. Rather.
Yeah.
So
I can agree with that, though I don't think they're gonna have Brown doing those routes. I think he's gonna be doing them old Tyreek routes where it's
yeah.
just go straight and burn that guy, and Patrick Mahomes is gonna put it right on your head.
So what does Worthy do then? Like, how do you draft the burner and he's not the burner on the team, right? That's why this room's so tough because you would
Yeah.
say Hollywood is a burner too.
Yeah.
Yeah, dude, but Brown's definitely not in Tyreek territory as far as taking screen passes. I never known
Right.
him to be having that kind of skill set.
Yeah.
So that's going to be more Rice's. And I'm going with him. I'm going with Rice.
Rice.
We've
That's
seen
who
him
I'm
do
thinking
those
too.
Dude, him and Mahomes were on the same page on those option routes all year.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
And
He was killing people in the playoffs. Just murdering teams' hopes and dreams in the playoffs.
he's also getting like the jet sweeps and the screen passes and the,
Yeah.
you know, the
A lot of
shuffle
design
passes
things for
stuff.
it.
Yeah.
So I see him still getting that stuff rather than anybody else.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think, again, Rice is a guy that can do multiple things rather than just being a one-dimensional
Yeah.
type of player. Now, we haven't seen Worthy and Brown can do other things, but, like, I just think with what his talent-wise, like, I just think Rice can do way more than him. So,
Yeah,
It
for a talent conversation, I totally agree with you guys. I think
Okay.
Rashee Rice is the most talented receiver there. I just think there's a chance he misses 8 games this year,
Oh,
maybe.
yeah,
I mean,
that's a good point. Yeah.
for me, I would take Hollywood or Worthy. Man, imagine what you can flip them for 3 weeks into the season. You know, if Rashee Rice does miss 8 games,
Yeah.
and you're like, hey, you get 5 weeks minimum of this guy being, the alpha on the team, and then you can see how it shakes
And
out.
Rice could very well lose his spot.
Right.
whenever
Yeah, I mean, if one of those guys is good
outshine
enough,
him.
yeah.
But like, there's no way that those guys are going to be doing the same thing that Rice. That's not plug and play.
I mean,
They're gonna have.
I don't think it's plug and
They're
play,
gonna
but
probably
I.
put McCole Hardman in that.
You think
position.
McCole Hardman puts one of those?
I'm saying,
I mean, I guess they would have another receiver on the field in Rice's
I'm
place. But he's
saying
not
like
there.
I'm still gonna use Brown and Worthy as the going down the field. I'm not gonna put him in where Rice was going.
You could really just say though, like Worthy's a rookie. You're gonna test
Yeah.
him out in some spots. I don't know.
Yeah, I think they're going to play around. I think Worthy will probably get a shake at some of those design routes just because of the speed he has. I mean, you have to see what he can do in open field if you just give him the rock, especially if he struggles winning downfield at some point. I think a lot of what happened with Rashee Rice last year was that as well, as he struggled to win consistently downfield in that offense, and it just took a little bit of time for them to figure out, what he's best at.
Yeah.
And he is a dominant player at the line of scrimmage, man. Those, like you said, those option routes.
Is he the best slot receiver in the NFL right now? Based on just last year, I think you can make the case for it.
Yeah, I mean, you could put his name in contention. it's a little tough when there's guys like CD plays a large amount out of the slot, but they're not true slot receivers.
Yeah. True. So the Chargers.
Yeah, let's go with the Chargers.
That's a pretty deep one.
Yeah, I think there's another one where we might be going different directions somewhat.
Yeah.
Lad McConkey, you got Quentin Johnston there.
I think
Josh
we can all
Palmer.
agree, kind of like Christian Watson, Johnston isn't.
Quentin Johnston is last on this. I'm even putting him behind DJ Chark for
Yeah.
me. I've seen DJ Chark play winning football in the NFL for multiple teams.
Yeah.
That doesn't mean he's going to be, a fantasy stud, but I think for the Chargers and what Harbaugh wants to do with that team, he can probably count on DJ Chark more to be a consistent run blocker and just do his job.
Yeah.
But I'm going Lad McConkey because I'm just chasing the upside in that room. I think Josh Palmer's a fine receiver, and I think he's going to have a good year.
Yeah.
But I don't want just a good year. I want a great year. And I think Lad could
Yes.
be a 30% target share kind of guy in that offense this season. So
He kind of does have the higher ceiling.
yeah.
I would have to go Josh Palmer. I think they've already had that connection for a while. I think he's since he's been on the team, he's a good receiver, and I think with McConkey, I think he's not going to spring out so quick. I think he's going to take a little bit to get in there. I think he's
Right.
going to show some flashes, so like some really like good plays, but I don't think he's going to be probably not on the field enough or whatever. Something where I think Josh Palmer is just going to be the dominant one there.
Honestly, it's all about if Lad McConkey's good.
Yeah.
Really.
Well, and healthy. I mean, the guy's never
Yeah.
played more than 5 games in a season. He's never had more than 500 some receiving yards in a season.
Yeah.
So if you can't be on the field, you can't score fantasy points for my football team. So
because what Josh Palmer is, and to some degree Quentin Johnston. I know everybody's just sort of
yeah, writing him off entirely.
Yeah.
like they're pushing him out of the pasture already, but he could learn.
Yeah.
Look at Nico
I mean,
Collins.
he's
You never
going to
know.
be on the roster for at least 2 more years.
Yeah.
He was a first-round pick. They're
Mhm.
not going to cut him 2 years, 3 years into the contract.
Yeah. He's going to keep getting his shot. He could turn it around.
I
Mike
think
Williams is kind of the same way.
Yeah, for sure.
Ooh, the Cardinals, big one.
On
Yeah,
to
getting into the running
on to
backs.
the running backs.
James Conner and Trey Benson, man. This is... I didn't really see them spending high capital on a running back personally because it was pretty obvious going into the draft they were spending that early pick on Marvin Harrison, and I was like, well, no way they're just going to, keep spending that much early capital on offensive skill positions,
Mhm.
but they did need them. Like,
Yeah, they did.
they just needed more offensive talent there, even if it is running back. I do think it's going to be very similar to something like we saw with Kenneth Walker, where Connor is going to be the one starting
Yeah.
out, just like Chris Carson was. And James Conner kind of has a history of never playing a full season. It's just not what he does. He doesn't stay healthy. But when he's on the field, he's a violent runner, and he looks great.
Yeah.
But the Cardinals would be smart to not give him a 100% workload with his injury history. So I do think it's going to shake out where over time you're going to see Benson's snap share go from 30% to 40% to where it would probably be a split, and he might even take the role.
Yeah.
It could be a 70-30 in his favor, and Connor's doing short yardage and giving him breathers.
Yeah.
It's going to be tough to get Connor off the field. I agree with what you said about him being a really talented player.
Yeah. I agree. I agree too. I think we're all on the same page. But James Conner is a different type of runner than Trey Benson.
I agree,
think
yeah.
so.
Benson has that explosiveness.
Yeah, I think you'll see him in the passing sets a lot, where James Conner's going to be that single back or whatever type of guy. So.
So
yeah.
you're basically, it sounds like we're all saying
James Conner.
neither for fantasy, right? They're just going to kind of eat into each other's touches. I think you kind of
James
said Trey
Conner-
Benson was going to eventually take over, but
I think fantasy wise, you still got to go James Conner.
I would
Dude's
go
getting the ball
Connor
the
just
goal
because I
line.
know he's good. I already know he's good in the NFL.
I think
So
he's
that's
getting
probably
the
who
ball,
I would choose as far as in fantasy and to win the job week 1. There's also something to be said for rookie running backs and pass blocking. If you can't pass block, you can't get on the field. Now, I don't know enough about Benson's pass blocking in college to speak on it really,
Yeah.
but I know it's a problem for a lot of guys as rookies. It's, hey, I know you're a great receiving back, but if you're on the field, like they know you're not blocking, you're running a route, or you're getting the ball.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
makes it harder on the offense.
Right.
like Zeke, he's a all-around guy. He's been an
Yeah.
all-around guy the whole time he's been in the NFL.
Zeke-
You don't know what play is going to be called.
He's probably one of the best pass blockers we've ever seen in the modern NFL for the running back position. I mean, he was a complete back coming out of college. It was
Yeah.
insane.
Mm.
But Rico Dowdle,
He's younger.
is younger. I mean, that's
only
the
thing
argument, right?
That's the only thing I could say for real. Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
got it. The argument is he is younger, and the Cowboys already chose to move on from Zeke
Yeah.
once. Now, obviously, they understood. Might have been a mistake. I think he was pretty darn good for the Patriots, in my opinion, down the stretch
I
last
thought
year.
so
Like,
too. Yeah.
he was the best player on the field for that team once Ramondre went down.
Yeah.
It was like, whoa,
Yeah.
he's got juice still.
Yeah.
So I think it's his job to lose.
Dude,
I really
It
do.
is his job to lose for sure. I think.
He could lose it. He could. I mean, he's at that age wall, and he's hit the
20
touches
hours,
threshold
30.
where everybody's like, "This is where you fall off."
Yeah.
You know. And I'd rather be a year too early than a year too late. But Dowdle's not good enough for me to be
Yeah,
like.
that's
It's
the
not like
way.
Trey Benson's there.
Right.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
okay. Rico Dowdle isn't
He
some
just-
all-world athlete or anything where he's
Yeah.
going to be pushing Zeke off the field if he's not,
yeah.
contributing consistently.
It just seems like a change of pace or just a relief back. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I
I
agree
would
with
not
that.
be surprised at all if it went back to 300 carries for Zeke this
Yep.
year.
I'll tell you what.
300 carries, 60 targets.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
I would not be surprised.
Dak doesn't want anybody but Zeke on the field, I'd imagine. I mean, they've always been
Maybe
best
a while,
buds,
yeah.
but just the trust level they probably have with each other is just next level with
Yeah.
how many years they've played
And
together.
I don't think they really moved on from him. I think it was just a cap situation.
Yeah,
So
yeah, it definitely
kinda, like,
was.
forced
I mean,
him
that
out.
contract was becoming a bit of a monstrosity.
Yeah. So.
Hopefully, the CD one looks like that in 3 years.
Yeah, for sure. All right, the Bengals. We got Zach Moss and Chase Brown. I'm interested to know what you
That's
guys
two
think.
super different players, in my opinion. My first instinct is immediately go with the money. They already had Chase Brown on the roster, and then they paid Zach Moss. Obviously, they needed somebody to replace Mixon, and I think the split could be pretty similar to that, where Chase Brown is just taking 30% of snaps. He's 2-minute drill, third downs, the passing, scat back kind of guy.
Mhm.
But Zach Moss was legitimately really good last year for the Colts. I mean, he was actually pushing Jonathan Taylor to, not get 90% snap share like those elite running backs do. It was, hey, there's no reason not to give this guy the ball 10 times a game, too.
Now, when he was on the Bills, how do you feel about that?
I thought he was one of the worst running backs in the NFL. I'll be totally honest. I thought Zach Moss was a dud.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I mean, change of system could definitely change things there for sure. But
He's the type of player that a coach wants to put in the football game.
yeah,
He's a
Yeah,
hard
he
worker.
He's
He
a
doesn't
team
know-
guy.
No
Yeah.
bull- yeah.
he chews up the unpleasant yards,
Yes.
Yeah.
the winning
Yeah.
football yards.
Dude, he blocks really good.
Yeah,
So, that's what I'm going with. I'm going with
Yeah.
Moss.
I'm going with Moss as well.
The one thing you said about follow the money, that doesn't always work out, but what it does tell you is what the team's intention is.
Right.
So,
I think by the end of camp, I don't think there's going to be a clear winner. I think it's going to be 50-50 type of guy.
it's a risk.
But if
Yeah.
if I'm going to go with somebody, I'm going Chase Brown. I think the dude's electric when he runs. So,
Yeah.
and I'm not saying that just because his brother's on the Eagles, but he just looks like a good player.
Who's
when
his
you-
brother?
Sidney Brown. He's a
Oh, the safety you guys got last year.
Yeah, so
It looks like Troy Polamalu a little bit with his
Yeah.
hair coming out the
Yeah.
helmet. Yeah.
yeah, he plays well, and it's the brother thing, man.
It's a talented
Sid-
safety, talented
Sidney
running back.
Brown got injured, and dude, the guy plays hard.
Yeah.
He plays well.
Oh, he
and-
hits like a
Yeah,
big truck.
So hold on. Does the theory go the other way, where if one brother sucks, they both suck?
Ooh,
Because-
that'd be interesting data to pull up.
I don't know. I'm gonna have to probably go back on.
If the
theory
first
at some
brother
point.
sucks, does the second brother even get a fair shake?
Maybe not.
I mean, honestly,
Amon-Ra.
yeah, Amon-Ra. Yeah, Equinemius was drafted, a year or two before Amon-Ra?
Yeah, and
He sucks.
Yeah,
But Amon-Ra is not buns.
I just think Zach Moss. Obviously, we saw him last year. He's a good runner, but I don't think he's gonna be the guy to really get those yards. And
Right.
I think Chase Brown is. So I think it's just. I feel like the smarter choice would be go Chase Brown because like Saquon, whenever he first came in, he might lose some yards sometimes, but he's gonna gain some
Yeah,
yards.
the Barry Sanders, LaShawn McCoy effect.
Yeah.
They're,
Yeah,
every play is a touchdown or bust.
right.
He,
You know why
he
I'm
disagrees.
because you just compared Chase Brown to Saquon Barkley.
I think Chase Brown is probably a really safe value buy in a PPR league. Like, if you just need a third or fourth running back, just somebody that you're okay playing, I mean, I think he's definitely going to be the receiving back in that offense.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, that's fair. And I think still at the end of the day, 50-50.
Yeah, for
I'll
sure.
take both.
Yeah,
of those players.
absolutely.
Titans. I don't think honestly. I feel like there's not a lot with that. I feel like you gave Pollard a big deal. He's gonna get the ball.
Really, that's where you're
I
at.
was thinking it was
Yeah.
gonna be 50-50.
I'm in a 50-50 just because. I mean, it's kind of like you or I said last time, and what you just said about Pollard. Follow the money. But I'm on the opposite side. I thought Spears was electric last year,
Yeah.
just like you said about Chase Brown.
Yeah.
And they spent a second round pick on him last year. So, I mean, yeah, it's tough.
It is tough because you are talking high draft picks.
Yeah.
They always get the ball.
but also
High
good
money.
money.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's
It's
tough, and especially because I think they're similar
They are
players.
similar.
Like what they excel at, I think is very similar.
Can we all just agree that it was really dumb for the Titans to sign Pollard?
Yeah, I'll agree with that.
Yeah.
I respect.
Kinda.
I've been very vocal about respecting the way the Titans have put as much talent around Will Levis as possible, but I don't agree with signing a running back who broke his leg in half 2 years ago and then just had the worst year of his career,
Yeah.
efficiency wise, to a long term deal.
Yeah. I don't know. It could work out. It could work out still. I don't know. A lot of teams spend a lot of dumb money on dumb players.
I think it's going to come
Still,
down to if Will Levis is good or not. There's a lot of data out there showing you need 90+% of the snaps to win, like be a winning fantasy football player as a running back if the offense isn't like top 10 or top 15.
Yeah.
So if it's not a top half of the league offense, it doesn't really matter if either of these guys is really talented if they're in a timeshare.
Yeah.
So
That's a little bit sad though. If you think about it, you're sitting here like watching.
You sound like a woman watching football. Have you ever seen a girl watch the Super Bowl and at the end they show the guy crying on the bench and they're like, oh.
they show
I
Stephon
didn't
Diggs.
mean it sad like in that
He's on
way.
the sideline
Yeah.
every playoffs,
Yeah.
I meant it.
watching the confetti.
I'm so sorry for him.
I feel sorry for myself because I'm like watching these running backs play in college, and to what you just said was it doesn't even matter if they're good or not.
Mm-mm.
It just matters if their team is scoring points and
Yep.
getting put up yards.
Yeah,
So-
I don't remember the exact numbers, but I'm pretty sure since 2015, James Robinson is the only running back on a bottom 10 offense to finish in the top 15 in a single season.
Wow.
For
And
running
that's
backs.
because,
it's
like
like
you said, 90% target.
yeah,
share.
yeah, he
Running-
had every snap. Like they
Yeah.
had like 28 snaps all season that weren't James Robinson by a running back.
Hmm.
That's what it takes.
Well,
Yeah, that's nuts.
who did you say? Who do you think? You said Spears?
50-50, I said.
Okay.
Okay, so would you guys rather have a Chubb, a Ford, or a foreskin?
Go to the Browns, man.
The Browns.
Nick Chubb, Jerome Ford, Deontay Foreman.
Well,
I skipped the Dolphins because that's.
I think everybody agrees.
Yeah, I think everybody thinks the Dolphins running backs are all going to be good if they get the football.
Yeah.
It's going to be probably very similar to last season
Yeah.
until somebody gets hurt.
Yeah.
And then Jalen Wright will take whoever's role just went down probably. So
For the Browns, I think we all can agree because I don't think Chubb's even playing yet, right?
I don't think
I think
he-
he just started walking.
yeah, I honestly don't know what his situation is going to be. I don't think he's going to be ready week 1.
Yeah.
Which means, in my opinion, he's
He's
probably
gonna
getting
lose the
eased
camp
in.
battle. He's probably going to
Yeah,
lose the
yeah.
camp.
He doesn't win the camp
If he's-
battle. You don't
he's
show up to
only
camp. You can't win the
You
battle.
can't walk, buddy.
Yeah.
He's like putting on pads, limping onto the field.
I
You
think
can't even run. You're not. No,
Yeah.
I'm sorry. I love you though, but no, you're gonna have. You're not.
I would love to see a Nick Chubb comeback.
Yeah.
A revival at some point late in the year.
and it's almost like he's already done it before with the same exact injury.
Yeah. Same leg, right?
when he was like 21.
so.
No.
Yeah, I mean, the age thing is what does it for me. That's
5 years older.
He's
6
like
years
28
older.
now, right?
27, I think.
maybe 27, something like that.
I think the dude's a beast. I think he's Adrian Peterson number 2.
You guys see Nick Chubb's like high school pictures? He looks like a 40-year-old man, dude. I mean, his arms are the size they are now.
Yeah.
It looks like a picture of him on helping high schoolers right now. Like that's how big he was in high school. The guy's a freak
Yeah.
as far as genetics go. So
Yeah.
I mean, there's something to bet on genetic freaks, you know.
I love going back and watching the guys that are like in NFL now, and go watching them that dominate high school.
Oh yeah, dude.
You like watching high school kids?
I just like
No,
watching.
I was just curious as well.
Dude, watching high school football is perfectly normal.
Yeah, come on, bro. I'm scouting these guys way before you ever get eyes on
Fair
them.
enough. Fair enough.
I've known Nick Chubb since he was 13.
I bet you have.
I honestly think that Jerome Ford is the most likely to win the job coming out of training camp. But I think Foreman has more juice. I think he's more talented. And I think if he gets the ball, his upside is higher than Jerome Ford's. But I think Jerome Ford's a fine running back. I mean, he's going to make the roster. He's going to be one of the guys, and he's going to be involved.
Yeah. Yeah, I think Foreman's been doing it a long time, so that makes sense. But I'm not really worried about Ford or Foreman. I'm all in on Nick Chubb. I think Nick Chubb's going to come back, and I think he's going to be Adrian Peterson, like I said.
Has there been any one of these where you had a guy on your fantasy team that you didn't pick?
Yeah.
Who was it? No, you picked everybody that was on your fantasy team.
I picked, I just did it. McConkey. I said Josh Palmer.
Who do you have?
Other than that, I don't have a lot of these guys.
Well, you picked.
I took both my quarterbacks. I think the only guy I went against that I had was James Conner and Rico Dowdle. Like I have shares of both those guys.
I don't even have a lot of these guys.
Yeah, you do that thing where you roster good running backs. I do that thing where I roster awful running backs and my teams are dog. It's not good.
Yeah, like Cam Akers. Yeah, he's a good running back.
What a beast. Ty Chandler.
Yeah. Who did you pick? Who did you like?
I'm going with Foreman.
You look like a Foreman. It's just somebody who's
It's
like...
I am the Foreman around here, though.
Yeah,
think about it.
yeah, because you let us do all the work and you do nothing. Yeah, that makes
Says
sense.
that I rake in the cash from all them 58 views.
Yeah, and never even responds to our comments.
Was there comments last week?
I don't know. You think I'll check that?
Keep leaving them comments. We're gonna look. We're gonna look.
I don't. I really don't. I wish I did. Josh told me that he commented. That's the only reason I knew he commented. So.
You gotta get them notifications on, man.
I do.
Yeah, guys, drop a like.
Drop a like, subscribe. Thank you, brother.
Oh, I don't want to be doing that. Don't you hate when people
comment what
It's
you guys
worst.
think about the video? Comment your thoughts.
Comment if you
about-
have a thought, man. That's it.
Comment.
It's like, yeah,
If it's funny, if it's entertaining,
yeah.
yeah.
If you feel the need,
yeah.
great. But man,
Like,
I hate people
dude.
begging for likes and subscribers, and
Yeah.
you gotta do it for the love of the game. Man.
Comment who
We're out here
thinks
just
the
grinding.
ugliest.
Yes.
The ugliest?
Mhm.
Dang, I should have did my hair today or something, man. I should have.
We don't have to compete.
I don't know, man. You guys both got Eagles jerseys on. It's gonna be low tier for you guys. I got this fancy Ryan Kerrigan knockoff on. You know, this is a good one.
Who did he end with?
Do what?
Who did he end with?
Ooh.
Oh, that would be
He didn't even sign a one-day contract?
Oh yeah, dude. This is when I went through my.
Whoa!
Whoa!
No way.
Whoa! You guys didn't see this.
I gotta edit the whole video. Oh
You
my
gotta
God.
put a
I'm
big
gonna
black,
blur you
big
out.
black sensor bar over my chest.
Oh my.
Oh man.
All right, so
He didn't even sign. I don't care about anymore. He didn't even sign a one-day contract. With
Kerrigan?
Yeah.
He's a coach for us now.
But
I don't think he technically retired.
Just like Brian Dawkins spent a couple years with Denver.
Yeah.
But still signed a one-day.
Yeah, he played for Philly. Dude, I remember how bad he was for Philly.
He was really
I have
bad.
this
But I
one
think he won a
play.
Super Bowl.
He might have been
was
on that roster. But I have this vivid memory of this one play where he had to drop into coverage in the flats in the end zone,
Yeah.
on the goal line. And whoever the quarterback was just threw this ball up, and he turned around and was running as hard as he could back. He jumps up, and the ball's still 8 feet over his head, and the receiver's just standing there looking at him, shaking his head. And I was like, oh yeah, he's cooked. His career's over. He's done.
Poor guy.
Poor guy. He had a great run.
Yeah.
Great
So what
run
was
for us.
your opinion on?
He went Foreman.
yeah, what's fun?
What were you gonna say?
No, I was gonna say
Maybe
we're doing
walk
the
out,
music. We're doing the music thing, right?
Are we?
Yeah. So I'm going with the U.S. Blues by Grateful Dead. It's the
U.S. Blues.
I like Grateful Dead.
Here's my reason.
Well, okay.
I just watched the debates, and the U.S. is screwed.
Yeah.
Also, it's July 4th, so
Okay,
Oh, yeah.
who wants to see Trump and Biden play golf against each other?
I do.
I think
I would. That would be
everybody
way better
wants
than
to
the
see
debate.
that.
I would watch all 3 holes that they made it through.
Yeah, for real, because they have to hold their own bag.
Yeah. Yeah,